Welcome everyone to St. John Energy's annual community meeting. My name is Paulette Hicks and I'm the CEO of Envision St. John. It is my pleasure to serve as your MC today. As your regional growth agency, Envision St. John is leaning into our region's natural assets and celebrating our partners that make our region a desirable destination for people, business, and investment. Let me first say that St. John Energy is a critical part of our region, recognized nationally and internationally for being innovators and leaders in developing sustainable energy. St. John Energy is not only supporting the needs of our city, but helping to elevate our region on the global stage. I am looking forward to today's session. This is a very special year for St. John Energy. 2022 marks St. John Energy's 100th year serving our community. Today you will hear more about that, its accomplishments over the last year, and the important plans for the future. We'll get started in just a moment, but a few housekeeping items. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the event, and we encourage anyone with questions for St. John Energy to submit them through the chat function. You can do this at any time. If you have any technical issues, please email Chloe at chloe.murphy@sjenergy.com and someone will assist you. We have a number of interesting speakers today, and I promise to keep the agenda moving along. To kick off the event today, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome to the virtual podium Her Worship Donna Reardon, the Mayor of the City of St. John. Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Paulette. It's my pleasure to be here today on behalf of the City of St. John and the Common Council. We are extremely fortunate to have a utility of national caliber in St. John to serve our city. We all know them to be friendly, highly reliable, innovative, and committed to customer service. They are also 100% locally owned, which is a tremendous benefit to our city. And speaking of 100, I want to congratulate them on their 100th anniversary of serving the citizens of St. John. So in 1922, the St. John Common Council's top priority was to create a municipal electric utility. Privately owned generation plants were selling electricity for up to 10 cents a kilowatt hour at the time, which was an exorbitant rate. The mayor, Fred Fisher, pledged to create a local power commission to regulate prices and manage distribution of this new energy source. So on December 5th, 1922, the Power Commission of the City of St. John was established, and the utility you know today as St. John Energy was born. Our utility has had several names, including the Power Commission, Civic Hydro, St. John Energy, but it's always been an advocate for clean, reliable electricity and an innovator in bringing that to our citizens. The latest innovation in a continuum of excellence is Birchall Wind Project. Birchall will supply enough renewable energy to power about 15% of the city. That's 2.5 times the renewable energy target of 6% we asked the community utility to deliver by 2025. So not only did St. John Energy significantly over-deliver on that commitment, they also did it years ahead of the schedule. And there's also the renewable energy certificates that St. John Energy announced earlier this month. The certificates enable energy buyers to certify that their power comes from a renewable source, and in this case, Birchall. So thanks to St. John Energy's leadership, the City of St. John is one of the organizations benefiting as it allows us to have 100% green electricity supply for our corporate operations. And so will St. John Energy itself, along with Irving Oil and Port St. John, two companies that stepped forward through a public RFP. And I congratulate them both on their leadership. It's fantastic. These certificates are a tremendous step forward in moving our city and our province to a future of net zero carbon emissions, and I happen to know that there are more available for any organization that would be interested. It's clear to me that this is one of those pivotal moments for our city as we take the next big step to achieve our ambitious climate change action plan goals and remain a benchmark for municipalities across Canada. As the world evolves to a low-carbon economy, sustainability through innovation is a must-have for our organization and community. I would like to congratulate St. John Energy, our city team, and community partners for their efforts. And I want to thank you so much for inviting me here today to speak briefly on this very important and really fantastic project. And back over to you, Paulette.
Thank you very much, Mayor Reardon. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Mike Holland, New Brunswick's Minister of Natural Resources and Energy Development, Minister Holland.
Thank you, Paulette, for the introduction. I'm pleased to be able to join you virtually for your annual general meeting. But before I begin, I want to take a moment to congratulate you on 100 years of service to your community. 100 years is an incredible milestone and one you should certainly be proud of. It's no secret that the electricity sector is facing challenges. Customer expectations are changing, and the electricity industry needs to adapt to meet the future needs. This isn't unique to New Brunswick. This is the case all across Canada. In particular, building climate resiliency in the electricity system is very important. However, while the challenge isn't unique to our province, we are in a unique position as far as our ability to do something about it. New Brunswick has always been a leader in energy innovation, and St. John Energy has played a part in helping the province develop that reputation. In fact, we are always seeing how the distribution system is positioned to test and pilot new technologies that will make a big impact on clean energy development. A noteworthy example that comes to mind is the partnership with OSO Energy, Kongsberg Digital, and EPOS Consulting on smart water heater technology and energy forecasting techniques. Findings of this pilot project will have a huge impact on the future of controllable water heaters in St. John, as well as the benefits and applications of the technology all throughout the world. It's incredible, important work, and it's a testament to the work we've done in the province to create an environment that creates energy innovation. These well-respected firms, located in a country where 98% of the electricity comes from renewable resources, clearly saw this partnership as an opportunity. The partnership with Natural Forces to create the Birch Hill Wind Farm is one that's also worth mentioning. Wind is a tried and true source of power and one of the cheapest renewable energies available. This is an exciting project with a lot of potential for your customers, for the province, the regional economy, and for the environment. And of course, there's your partnership with Tesla to integrate the Megapack battery within your system to help better manage peak energy demand. This is significant, not only because the technology is impressive, but because its arrival at St. John Energy marked the world's first deployment of a Megapack. While it might come as a surprise to some to see New Brunswick attracting such renowned partnerships, it is no surprise to me. New Brunswick has a long history in the energy sector. When it comes to energy innovation, we have always punched well above our weight, understanding just how important this work will continue to be. For example, we're already playing a leading role in the advancement of small modular reactors. Our government has been making steady progress on our strategy around SMRs. In March of 2022, we released a strategic plan on SMRs developed in partnership with the governments of Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. It's well known at this point that New Brunswick wants to be a global leader in advanced SMRs, and we are well poised to achieve that goal. But while SMRs have been an area of our focus for our government, they're only one piece of the puzzle. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. And I'm excited about the possibilities that exist within the energy sector to help Canada and its provinces meet their climate change commitments. Moving ahead, it will be important for St. John Energy to work collaboratively with NB Power to ensure that reliable and clean electricity systems and a more prosperous and sustainable tomorrow for future generations. Thank you again for the invitation and the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. While there are certainly challenges facing this sector, there is also a lot to be excited about, and the future is bright. Congratulations on your achievements, both in this past year and over the last century. And here's to 100 more. Thank you very much. Merci. And now back over to you, Paulette.
Thank you very much, Minister. And now I'd like to call upon Ryan Mitchell, President and CEO of St. John Energy. Ryan took over as President and CEO of St. John Energy earlier this year, a role he assumes after nearly 5 years as Vice President for the company. I'll also note for the audience that Ryan was named one of Canada's Clean 50 leaders in 2021 in recognition of his contributions to a sustainable and low carbon future for Canada. Congratulations, Ryan. I'll now pass the proceedings over to you for your overview of St. John Energy today and into the future.
Thank you very much, Paulette, and welcome everyone. I very much appreciate you taking the time to join us today for our annual community meeting. It is certainly an exciting time to be at St. John Energy, and I am honored to follow in the footsteps of Ray Robinson, who led this company with vision and a steady hand for the last 10 years. I am grateful for his mentorship and leadership, as I know so many people at our company are. Thank you, Ray. As in years past, I want to take you through a brief overview of what we've been up to and what the future looks like for us. But first, a quick look back on 100 years of being in operation. As St. John Energy marks a century of service to the city, I've been brushing up on our history. And looking back, I am struck by how our company has consistently been guided by the same principles that we operate by today. This includes providing affordable power, innovating for our customers, advancing clean energy, and being community-minded. The Power Commission of the City of St. John was established on the 5th of December in 1922. In the beginning, our utility had no assets and no workforce, just a board of commissioners determined to create the infrastructure that St. John would need to compete in the age of electricity. They drove the innovation needed to bring electricity to our customers, allowing them to move away from cooking and heating with coal. At a time when electricity was a novelty and very expensive, they were able to build the distribution network and introduce stable pricing. It is fascinating to look back and see how our company was at the forefront of new technologies every step of the way. I've seen the ads for our first appliance program launched in 1924, like the one you may have spotted in the brief slideshow that kicked us off, selling electric ranges through a customer payment plan. The citizens who created St. John Energy also knew that electrification was key to progress, a stronger and more livable city, much like electrification is the key today to a green energy future. I was thrilled to be at an announcement last week with Natural Forces, the Atlantic Canadian company building the 42 megawatt Birch Hill wind farm in Lorneville. At an event at the site, Natural Forces announced a partnership that will see the Tobique First Nation become a part owner of Birch Hill. Battery storage will also be added, the significance of which I will talk about later. But being there at the site, it struck me what a historic step this will be for St. John. Not only will this be the city's first wind farm, but it will usher in a new green energy era for our customers. Once it comes online by the end of the year, Birch Hill will supply up to 15% of St. John Energy's needs with low-cost renewable energy. And earlier this month, we were able to share the news about renewable energy certificates tied to Birch Hill. As part of our agreement with Natural Forces, St. John Energy is able to offer the certificates to help energy buyers achieve net zero as it relates to their consumption of electricity. Thanks to Birch Hill, we will have enough of these certificates to allow both St. John Energy and the City of St. John to certify all their corporate electricity requirements as coming from renewable energy, while still leaving an abundant supply for others in the city looking for the benefits that come from renewable energy certificates. Through a public RFP, both Irving Oil and Port St. John were the first commercial customers of these certificates. This allows both of them to match their electricity consumption supplied by St. John Energy with renewable energy certificates from Birch Hill. We are currently exploring whether residential customers would be interested in the program and plan later in the year to formally entertain further interest from any other organizations. Our corporate vision is to be a national utility leader in the transition to net zero, and these are important milestones in achieving that. We're also excited about our partnership with OSO, plus 2 other Norwegian companies, along with the Norwegian and Canadian governments. Together, we're piloting innovative smart water heater technology here in St. John. OSO has been a partner of ours, a supplier of hot water heaters for close to 25 years. Knowing our reputation for being nimble and innovative, they approached us and asked if we would test their new OSO Charge water heaters and their interaction with our smart grid. OSO Charge water heaters are forecastable, interactive, and offer a secure way to manage and balance energy. Our findings from the partnership with OSO and the Norwegian companies Kongsberg Digital and EPOS Consulting will inform the future of controllable water heaters, not only here, but around the world. The Norwegian and Canadian governments view this as an important opportunity to validate the technology for widespread use and have been instrumental in making this happen. Innovation Norway and the Norwegian companies are contributing over $1 million, with ACOA contributing $200,000 toward the $1.25 million pilot project cost. Every year, Electricity Canada, leveraging an independent research firm, polls the customers of utilities to determine how they are performing. St. John Energy has a proud history of being one of the most highly regarded electrical utilities in Canada, and last year was no exception. You can see here that we continue to rank well, both regionally and nationally, on a variety of important measures like customer satisfaction, reliability, environmental stewardship, and trustworthiness. We feel it is important to not only measure how we're doing, but to be able to benchmark ourselves against our peers in the region and across Canada. Our reputation is very important to us, and we're working hard every day to earn and improve upon it. We owe our reputation to our staff. Our achievements today and for the last century are a direct result of the talents and dedication of our workforce. At St. John Energy, our people drive our success. We're a community utility that punches well above its weight because of the commitment and talent of our employees. Thanks to them, we are able to lead in innovation and provide reliable service that puts our customers first. Our customer service agents go above and beyond to help our more than 36,000 customers. Our St. John Energy crews, who are part of the IBEW Local 1524, work day and night in all kinds of weather to ensure the lights stay on. Behind the teams on the front lines are dedicated professionals and forward-thinking leaders who make our company what it is today. Our strong financial management has allowed us to maintain our leadership on rates. Our residential customers enjoy electricity rates that are the lowest in Atlantic Canada, about 10% lower. Collectively, our customers are saving approximately $10 million per year with our lower rates. I am thankful for the strong and stable footing, especially given the transformation happening in our industry. This slide encapsulates where our core business, the distribution of electricity, sits today. For the last decade, our customer count, shown on the left, has remained steady, but that also means that there has been essentially no growth. The same goes with electricity consumption, which is shown on the right. There is some variation there, but it has been on a downward trajectory. In large part, this illustrates the success of energy efficiency efforts, which means our customers are spending less on energy. We do expect consumption will be on the upswing as society turns increasingly to electricity to power their cars, as an example, the era of electrification. But that also requires some necessary change in the way we do business to ensure long-term sustainability. Over the last several years, we've been meeting customers' needs by focusing on providing products and services that will help them improve their comfort and enhance energy efficiency. This includes our heat pump rentals, water heater rentals, and area lighting program. This graph shows you how demand for these has grown steadily over the last several years. Customers appreciate the innovations, and they like the convenience and hassle-free maintenance services that come with them. They also appreciate how these can improve their energy efficiency and the savings they can bring. While to some, it can seem counterintuitive for a company in the business of selling electricity to be assisting customers to save energy. But our customers have repeatedly told us they want and expect St. John Energy to be leaders in this respect. And in some measure, reducing consumption, it is good for us too. And I'll get to that in a little bit later on. This slide provides a glimpse into our financial health. The blue bar represents the net cash earnings from our core business of electricity distribution. The red bar represents the same, but for our consumer products business. Aside from the variation in 2020, because of the onset of the pandemic, you can see how our core business has been relatively steady, but flat. Our consumer products business, meanwhile, is growing. This is important because it shows that our strategy around consumer products and innovation has put us on the right path, ensuring that we can be sustainable well into the future. It underscores that St. John Energy is well positioned to fulfill our vision. For the last several years, we have been bringing the utility of the future to life right here in St. John. In addition to maintaining our core business, our utility of the future strategy is built on 3 pillars: renewable energy and storage, electrification, and innovation in smart grid. I've already touched on Birchill, which is our first leap into renewable energy, but I'm sure most of you have already heard as well about our Tesla Megapack battery. When we installed it in Milledgeville in 2019, it marked a world first. The Birchall announcement from last week ramps it up some more. As part of the $50 million investment announced from Natural Resources Canada will allow for a 10 megawatt, 20 megawatt hour utility scale battery system to be connected to St. John Energy's grid. Between that and the Megapack, we will have access to more storage capacity than any other electric utility in Atlantic Canada. Battery storage will provide significant support for peak reduction, as well as balancing renewable energy coming on to our system. That brings us to Smart Grid. The $14.5 million project, funded in part by Natural Resources Canada, is foundational to our innovation aspirations. This project is all about optimizing our system and how we distribute electricity within it, with a particular focus on reducing cost and the associated upstream carbon emissions. For example, it will connect the grid to thousands of distributed energy resources at the utility level, commercial level, as well as within our customers' homes. What I love about this project is that it brings in so many partners collaborating together to advance smart grid innovation. Partners like the University of New Brunswick, UNB researchers and students have been key to the development of artificial intelligence and machine learning for the grid. Partners like the City of St. John and St. John Water, who are providing access to standby generation assets. Partners like OSI, whose system platform is foundational for the command and end-to-end control of our distribution system. And that's only the beginning. There are really too many to mention here, but they are all instrumental to the development of our smart grid and the success we're already seeing. That success included global recognition, as last June, the International Smart Grid Innovation Network chose our project for its top prize, the Award of Excellence. And that is certainly something that we can all be proud of. Helping us manage peaks in demand is a central benefit of the smart grid. Times of peak demand are costly, attracting charges from a wholesale supplier of electricity that cost us up to $30 million a year. Although generation in New Brunswick is generally very clean, approaching 80% non-emitting, in order to satisfy peak demand, the provincial utility often needs to bring fossil fuel generation plants online. That can lead to twice as much CO2 from electricity generation compared to off-peak. The chart on this slide shows how our increasing focus on smoothing the peak has steadily increased the amount of money we have saved and topped over $1 million last year. As we reduce the peak and save money, we are also curbing carbon emissions in New Brunswick. And I'm pleased to provide an early report that we're on track to realize even more, as in the first quarter of 2022, the savings are already over $500,000. A key pillar of our utility of the future is electrification, the transition away from end uses that rely on fossil fuels toward those powered by electricity. As part of that journey, we led a project supported by Natural Resources Canada that brought 99 level 2 EV charging stations to communities across Atlantic Canada. In St. John, 8 new charging stations were installed, making the transition to EVs more accessible and affordable. And we're currently looking at bringing level 3 chargers to the city in the future. As I've mentioned, we're encouraging the adoption of heat pumps as an efficient way to heat and cool your home. And there are many more opportunities in this space, so stay tuned in the coming months. At St. John Energy, we are proud to work with all levels of government to transition to a greener energy future and realize our vision for the utility of the future. This includes Natural Resources Canada and ACOA, which see us as a nimble innovator and are supporting our work in renewables and smart grid technology. They see St. John as a testbed for innovation that can be rolled out across the country. I am thankful today that we were joined by Mike Holland, New Brunswick's Minister of Energy and Resource Development. I appreciate his support and presence as a provincial government is integral to our growth and success. Earlier this year, I had the privilege of joining with my colleagues from the 2 other municipal utilities in the province, Edmundston and Perth Andover, to present to the Standing Committee on Climate Change and Environmental Stewardship. And we're delighted to work alongside the City of St. John to advance its community energy plan. A big step forward was our ability to move ourselves in the city to zero emission electricity supply for our corporate operations through the renewable energy certificates, which we spoke about earlier. As I reach the end of my presentation, I want to be sure to acknowledge all the work and generosity that St. John Energy and our employees put into supporting different causes in our community. Throughout our history, this has been an important part of our culture. At St. John Energy, we support our community simply because it is the right thing to do. In 2021, St. John Energy and our employees gave almost $150,000 to more than 40 charities in the city. More than 1/3 of that went to the United Way and the organizations they support. I know Alexia Healis from the United Way will be joining us a little later. I want to thank her for being with us today and for all the great work she and her colleagues do in making our city and region a better place. They really are transforming lives. Before I pass it back to Paulette and our remaining speakers, please join us in our journey to a greener future. We post news and developments and other items of interest on our social media channels, so I invite you to follow and engage with us there. We blog about our journey at poweringourfuture.ca and of course, regularly update sjenergy.com with news and information. We welcome your ideas and suggestions. And as a reminder, after the formal proceedings are concluded here, you can submit questions through the chat for us to respond to. On behalf of the entire team at St. John Energy, thank you very much for your time and attention today. Paulette, over to you and our next speaker.
Thank you, Ryan. That was a very interesting and informative overview. These are such exciting times. Anyone with questions about Ryan's presentation or about St. John Energy is encouraged to add them into the chat box, and Ryan or one of his colleagues will tackle them. If we run short of time, your questions will be answered and forwarded to your email. Members of the media are asked to save their questions for one-on-one interviews this afternoon. Media who have not yet arranged for an interview are asked to email chloe.murphy@sjenergy.com. And now I'd like to introduce Carl Diven-Vorden. Carl is a speaker, writer, and sustainability consultant in the province. He is passionate about preserving our global and local environment and helping New Brunswick thrive in the coming green economy. Carl, over to you.
Thank you, Paulette. Well, congratulations, St. John Energy, on your first 100 years. And congratulations on all the progress you've made towards transitioning to a clean, green, renewable energy system. And boy, is your timing ever right. Just last month, the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a global network of our smartest minds on climate change, came out with its latest report. And there's some pretty grim findings in there. Like, for example, in spite of all of the talk by governments and businesses, emissions continue to be at record highs. Sure, there was an interruption during the pandemic, but now they're roaring back. The highest per capita emissions in North America, driven primarily by Canada and the US. And if we keep doing what we're doing, we're on track for warming of 3 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. But there's good news too, mainly that, for example, the cost of renewables, the very solutions we need for climate change, solar and wind and batteries to back them up, the costs have gone down by between 55 and 85% over the last decade. And the target of 1.5 degrees of warming aspired to in the 2015 Paris Climate Accord, it's still within reach, but just barely. We need to act together and we need to act quickly. So how are we going to meet such aggressive targets here in New Brunswick? Well, I'd suggest 3 solutions. Maybe not simple steps to solutions. Maybe they're not simple, but 3 steps. 1, become as efficient as we can, as quickly as we can in every area that we use energy. 2, electrify everything that we can. And 3, get all of that electricity from renewable and sustainable sources. Well, St. John Energy, you're a key stakeholder in this, in making that happen. And as members of the team, you're key players for that. So if you work in an area where you're working with homeowners and businesses to help them understand their energy footprint and to make simple upgrades so that they can reduce their energy consumption, like air sealing and insulation, or installing heat pumps, or perhaps piloting those new Stash Energy heat pumps, well, you're in on the ground floor. That's stage one, helping people reduce their energy consumption and at the same time reducing emissions and saving them money. If you work in an area where you're helping businesses and homeowners convert from fossil fuels to electricity, maybe via their heating system, or maybe you're helping install EV chargers so that people can ditch the gas vehicles, well, you're in a good place too, because that's stage two, helping us electrify everything that we can. And then stage three, well, bravo to St. John Energy for being so aggressive in renewable energy with the new forthcoming commissioning of the Birchall wind farm backed up by your Tesla battery. And you know, really the transition to a renewable energy system, I think everyone quickly gets the environmental benefits of that. And sometimes I think we don't fully appreciate the economic benefits. Sure, there are all the jobs that come with converting and developing that infrastructure, but I think the lesser recognized benefit is the long-term savings that we get, which means that instead of importing energy, we've got money available in New Brunswick for other priorities right here. Let me explain that a little bit more. If you go to the annual report of NB Power, you see that in their statements, they show that on average, imported energy and imported electricity, imported fuel costs us net about $400 million a year. That's more than $1 million a day of New Brunswick dollars fleeing our economy. And how do we get those back? Well, it takes a lot of 2x4s and a lot of French fries and a lot of lobsters. But what would happen if we could keep them here in the first place? Imagine what we could do with our society's other priorities like healthcare, like education, like infrastructure, like giving us more recreation time even. Just imagine the possibilities if we could keep that money here. See, here's the beautiful thing about renewables. Once we invest in the infrastructure, the fuel is free. As a friend of mine likes to say, the sun never sends a bill. The wind never sends a bill either. So to me, renewable energy isn't just an environmental imperative. It holds the promise of energy self-sufficiency, which is a key to economic self-sufficiency here in New Brunswick. Well, back to those emissions targets. They're pretty aggressive. Can we do it? Well, why not? 5 years ago, I was aware that our family's carbon footprint consisted primarily of our transportation and our consumption of electricity. But I could only dream of having an EV or generating my own renewable energy. But fast forward to today, and guess what? There's an EV in our driveway and a solar array in our yard that powers our house and charges our car. And I say this not to praise myself, because honestly, if I can do this, anyone can do it. But hopefully the bigger takeaway is this. Change is exponential too. And if something that seemed so impossible 5 years ago is now right here and now, well, imagine the change that is possible over the next 5 years. Change happens when local champions grab the baton and they run with it, just as St. John Energy is doing. So congratulations and bravo on that first century of success. And here's looking forward to another 100 years of innovation and success as we work towards a sustainable, clean energy system. Back to you, Paulette.
Thank you very much, Carl, for that inspiring message. And now for our final speaker, Alexia Healis of United Way, St. John Kings, and Charlotte.
Thanks so much, Paulette. It is truly my pleasure to be here today. St. John Energy has been such a great friend and supporter of the United Way since we began. Really, they have been donating to us since we opened our doors in 1959. They are an incredibly community-minded company that are always there when we need them. Between their corporate giving and their employee giving, just this year, they donated over $63,000 to the United Way. This generosity has helped to support dozens of charities right across our region that are making a measurable difference in those most vulnerable in our community. It has done things like help people get access to education that leads to employment, empowering youth, helping to stamp out intergenerational poverty, and helping to battle intimate partner violence, just to name a few. One of these organizations that United Way supports is Outflow. They run two social enterprises, Catapult Coffee and Catapult Construction. And I must tip my hat here to Ryan Mitchell, because at a recent stop in at Catapult Coffee, he got to thinking about whether or not there might be a way for St. John Energy to work together with Catapult. And the first thing that came to mind was the copper wire that St. John Energy accumulates and then recycles. He thought if Catapult Construction could strip this wire, that would provide employment and also transform this wire into pure copper and fetch a much higher price. And Catapult would be able to keep the difference and use this money to help fund their outreach programs. And thanks to the magic of video, I can let the Catapult crew tell the story from here.
Just slide it through the machine. Literally done. There's different dimensions, different thicknesses.
At St. John Energy, a lot of our values are oriented around serving our community and serving our customers in a sustainable fashion, and generally through innovation. And the project that we embarked on with Outflow, I would say really, checked all three of those boxes.
I enjoy it. Some people are like, are you crazy? Stripping copper wire, it's so boring. But it's not. It gives me time to reflect. It gives me time to be by myself. I listen to some music.
So we are able to use the proceeds, the money that comes in from it, and pour it back into what we do. This idea of just taking a product, getting it down to where it needs to be, recycling it, redeeming it, and getting the value worth back. And it fits with our mission and our ministry of restoring lives.
I've been out of trouble. I've been working. They gave me a job. They believed in my abilities, believed in who I was, I guess. They pretty much saved my life. Outflow saved my life. So now I'm a lifer for Outflow, so to speak.
Once the copper was redeemed, at the end of the day, when we were able to pay everyone and do what we do, it's like a fundraiser. It's an opportunity for us to give that back to our meal programs and to our outreach ministry. The benefits of this brings hope and brings a future to people.
So we've kind of gone through it once, and it's gone well, and so it's something we're going to look to continue to do, in the future, and hopefully forever, or as long as we have copper that we're recycling, And then I would say, as we start to look into the future, there's other opportunities that we're exploring, with Outflow and especially with Catapult, in terms of supporting our infrastructure and doing inspections and painting different assets that need to be painted. So I certainly see the relationship between St. John Energy and Catapult, growing into the future.
Wow, this unique partnership is truly a win-win-win-win. This provides employment, it provides thousands of dollars every year to Outflow to support their program. It makes business sense for St. John Energy, and it's better for our planet by ramping up recycling. This is such a terrific example of how meaningful change can happen right here in our corner of the world when leading community organizations like St. John Energy take an innovative approach to driving social change. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say a huge thank you to St. John Energy and a thank you to Ryan for your leadership in support of your community.
And now I'll pass the event over to Jessica DeLong, the Manager of Stakeholder Relations for St. John Energy, who will coordinate the question and answer session. However, before I hand it over to Jessica, I want to thank Ryan and his team for inviting me here today. This was a great session, and it underscores for me how lucky we are in this region to have St. John Energy.